This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in, Paul Catalina, and look at this handsome devil, Pierre Noujaim.
Where?
Yeah, look at you, buddy. I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's good to be back.
Yeah, Garrett basically called me this morning and said, look, if Pierre's not on today, I'm flying to Minneapolis. I'm going to put my foot.
Got to check him, man.
Yeah, so far up his ass, he's going to choke on my shoelaces.
It was funny. I was out of town. You were at the Super Bowl. I was out of town. I was flying back from Vegas last Monday. So, finally we're able to make it happen.
I don't think we did a show last Monday. Yeah, we didn't do a show. No, we did a show on Monday. We didn't do a show on Thursday. Yeah.
Got it.
So, there's a lot that's been kind of going on here, behind the scenes. All good things, which in due time we'll announce. But it was, it's just like Thursday kind of came upon us, and Garrett and I kind of realized, like, hey, we're a little behind from last week. Like just a touch, because you can't, all the stuff that we can do in the studio here, very little that you can do from Media Row. Like, you can't really do that. Like, it's just, the thing is like, I thought, like, okay, there's some cool things. Like, maybe we can go shoot this over here, or like go do this. And then the minute I have that question in my head, somebody with a paper comes over to me and goes like, hey, by the way, we're going to move this guest to this time, or can you do like right now? And you're like, well, I'm just sitting here. So yeah, just bring him over right now. Like, so that little idea of here's how we shortcut productivity just got blown up. So, but you were during the Super Bowl, you were in Vegas, which is outside of the Super Bowl site, I would say the second best place to be during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I actually, now that I think about it, I think that might be the first time I've ever gone to Vegas. And I've been to Vegas more times than I can count, but that might be the first time I've ever gone to Vegas during the Super Bowl. And I remember a lot of people saying to me, I was like, why would you go during the Super Bowl? Like, aren't the rates higher and this and that? I was like, well, the game's not there. And actually, the hotel prices dropped as the week went on. So, got a good deal at the hotel. We got a nice table over at the Cosmopolitan to watch the game. We made a little money during the game. It was fun. It was a great place to watch the game for sure.
Yeah. So where'd you say you stayed at the Cosmopolitan?
We stayed at the Venetian, but we watched the game over at the Cosmopolitan.
Okay. All right. Well, see, there you go. Venetian's lovely.
My favorite hotel.
Yeah. It's a very, very lovely hotel.
Yeah.
Pierre, let me ask you, since you're now an engaged man, betrothed, what would you say your Vegas experience has changed in that time?
I actually, in my most recent one, which was last week.
You know what I'm trying to get you to admit, but I know that you're not going to.
Yes, it has changed, but only slightly. Everything, only slightly. As I was telling a buddy of mine the other day, I'm still going to wear the T-shirt when I land, all gas, no brakes. That's my theme when I go out to Las Vegas.
Yeah. All right. So, like, is there anything that's been deleted from your activities?
No.
Okay.
No, everything was all well and good, and great time was had by all. And you found the one when you don't have to change who you are for that person.
Okay. So, well, that is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah.
I thought one activity that I know that you enjoy, which we won't have to name the activity, would
right.
Would be deleted from the menu.
Yeah, there's, and of course, when you're in Las Vegas, the menu is very long and lengthy. There's so many different things you can do out in that city, and it's, it's just such a great time. But a 10 out of 10 experience, I can tell you that from last weekend. So,
okay,
except when the bill came due at the end of the trip, I was like, oh God.
Oh, you know what? Like, here's the deal.
Yeah,
I've chosen to decide that was never money that I had.
Yeah,
when I go on vacation.
Yeah.
It was always money that was just going to this. So it's not like I lost money or I spent money. It was just, we were only destined to be together for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. That's a great way of
that's
looking
what
at it,
vacation money is. And if you think of it that way, Now, part of the problem with that is that, if you've got a swim up bar, then I kind of forget the logic in some of that. So I'm like, we weren't together anyway. And I'm like, well, next year's vacation, I've got to stop going top shelf when I'm after the first one, just put in the well. I won't notice,
Yeah.
I'm out in the sun. Yeah. The people I was a mark for those waiters in Palm Springs this summer. I'll tell you right now, I was a mark. You know what? You get 2 frozen drinks in this guy, and some chicken fingers.
Oh,
he's just going to be like, you know what? I made a new friend. This is Rico. He's from Las Palmas.
Yeah.
Rico, what do you want? He wants a banana daiquiri. Yeah. What's up, brother?
everybody loves that guy at a wedding or a party, though. Everybody loves it.
Hey,
the way I view Vegas too. I mean, are you familiar with the TV show? What was it called back in Seinfeld? Were you familiar with that show?
Oh, I think we've discussed it a couple times.
Yeah. My favorite opening monologue from the entire series, when they used to do the opening monologue, he would talk about how everybody's at the restaurant and everybody's ordering great. They think they're acting like kings. They're ordering food and drinks left and right, and then the bill comes, and they pass the bill around the table. Like, how could this be? Does this look right to you? That's exactly what Vegas is. That is 100% what Vegas is. At the end of the weekend, I said, well, I'm not having any fun now. Why am I spending all this money?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Would you like to know the first time my father saw me drunk?
Please.
So I was 21 when we went to Vegas with my mom, my dad, and my sister. So it was awesome. I mean, we stayed at Caesars. We saw John Mellencamp.
Oh yeah.
We saw O. Like O's been going since this time,
right.
But that was like year 1 or 2 of O. So it was it was very new, and then the third night was just like Mom and Laura went off and did stuff, and then my dad and my dad is like, let me show you what Vegas is all about. But that first night, I didn't know that if you are at Caesar's Palace and I didn't know this walking in, but you are at a table and you are playing, that the drinks are free. You just have to tip the cocktail
waitress.
Yeah. But the drinks are free. They want you to, look, you're spending way more money losing at blackjack than you ever will on drinks.
Correct.
And if you can spend more on drinks than you are losing at blackjack by doing those two things at the same time, you are a special kind of card counter and alcoholic.
Yeah.
That is something that just can't happen.
You're going to be spending more on the ambulance that's going to be coming to pick you up in about an hour.
Mind you, I'm 21. When you would go at 21 and order drinks, like if they had something that was top shelf on special, that's the only time I would get it. Otherwise, like if I'm getting a whiskey and Coke, I'm like, that Old Crow and that Coke from the well, let's not get greedy there, Dennis. Let's not do this, right?
Yeah.
So, but he was teaching me how to play craps, which I still don't completely understand.
My favorite game. My
Yeah,
favorite game. Be happy to teach you.
Yeah. I get like 90% of it.
Okay.
But there's like some of it where I've missed the transition phase of like swapping out shooters and all that, like whatever. Like there's a lot of rules to it.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules.
There's a lot of different things going on at the table at once for sure. That is true.
There's a lot of things. And so I was learning and he bankrolled me. And he was telling me what to do and I'm learning. So anyway, the cocktail waitress came up and she's like, "Hey, sweetie, can I see your ID?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Absolutely you can." Ba-pow! 2-1.
Always the most proudest moment.
Yeah. You can't stop me until I die. So anyway, boom, 2-1. That's what I was excited. So she's like, "All right, well, what do you have?" I said, "I'll have a whiskey and Coke." She's like, "Well, she's like, we can get you Jack Daniels or whatever." And I was like, "Well, no, I mean, just the cheap stuff." And she's like, "Hey, sweetie, drinks are free over here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Dad's like, yeah, don't worry about it." And so we played craps for all of like 2 hours, almost 3, like somewhere in the middle of that. And the whole time, this lady just every time my drink hit the table, she was just like, she's like popped up. Like there was like a tunnel system, like just popped up with another one. And so I'm just like, and look, this is in my really prime drinking era. So I was, I still had some like legitimate tolerance. Like I was all right. Like, look, I was in Tallahassee, Florida. Look, I've been around the block when it comes to like pacing, right? Yeah. So, but eventually, like she came that last one, and then like not the last one, but like last like 40 minutes, I was like, oh shit, I am really messed up right now. Like I am legitimately like the like your feet feel like you're like just bouncing. Kind of thing. And that's what like, oh, this is why people like dance randomly, like where they're like, like, cause you feel like you're like, oh, I can dance now because this is what Fred Astaire feels like. Correct. You're just walking on air. And so I know he was like paying attention and doing what he was doing. He was doing very well, very well. And so I mean, he was kind of paying attention, but he knew. And so we leave to go back up to the room, and these casinos, like especially Caesars. And it's smaller then than it was smaller then. It's now even bigger, Oh, yeah. But it was a gigantic, spacious casino. It's like gambling in, like AT&T Stadium. It's gigantic. It's just huge.
Caesars is massive. It's massive. Yeah.
So we start walking towards the room, which is, honestly, probably about a quarter mile if you think about it, from where we were to get to those elevators. And about, 25 steps into that quarter mile, I was just like, this is going to be a long thing. And I realized like, he's looking over at me. And he was never a guy that like, I think in my whole life I saw him drunk 4 times. Mm-hmm. And so he wasn't that guy. Like he had one Beefeater martini the whole time we were sitting there.
Yeah.
That's it. And then the rest of the time he was having Diet Cokes. He was staying alert. And I'm just like, all right, roll a 9. And they're like, no. 9's bad. But he just rolled a 9 and everybody won. That's the guy. I don't know.
Yeah. The tough part about that too is especially at Caesars, because I was fully ready to hear you say when you left the craps table to go to your hotel room. So like trying to find the elevator at Caesar's Palace is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It is the biggest winding maze of a casino, maybe on the Strip. When you're in that casino, it is buckle up because you'll never be in the same place twice because you are absolutely lost.
Oh, no, it was, thankfully he was there and he knew exactly where we were going. But, by the time we got to the escalator to take us up to the elevator, like I was on that escalator, like, can I sit on the stoop? Like just backwards, sit on the stoop. And then you, like, here's the thing. Just drag me. I'll give you leverage. You can take, like, the collar of my shirt and drag me. I'll tuck it in nice and tight, and you just drag me to the room. You might get a little tired, but believe me. And so I got it there, and, he went in the bathroom. He came out. He put, like, a couple of Tylenol and a nice little water there and said, listen, I don't care. But if you get in that mini bar, I'm kicking your ass.
Yep.
And so like it was the whole night, all I could think of was like, man, there's peanuts in there. I could not wait to fall asleep or pass out so that I stopped thinking about like, there's peanuts and I saw a Snickers bar. And man, there's like 4 Gatorades. I could really use those Gatorades,
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're not, we're not paying $9 for a Gatorade, the $8 convenience charge that you're getting.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, in your state currently, when you're going to bed thinking about that, you have no realization that all of that you just said probably will cost you $200 just to get up and get from your bed to the mini bar to remove.
Hey, this last summer when we were in Vegas at Big 12 Media Days at the Bellagio, I went into the mini bar for the first time in my life just to your dad can't stop me, and that's the last time I'll do that.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
I didn't like. I had like 2 things. And
you will not make that same mistake twice. I promise you.
Yeah, no, and it was Garrett's fault.
Hey, now.
That's all I'm telling you. It was Garrett's fault.
Big 12 Media Days was in Vegas?
Yeah,
buddy.
Well, this year it's back at the Star in Frisco, which is fine. It'll be great. It'll be very easy for us. But
yeah, convenient for you. But I mean, when we're talking about, I mean, I got to go to Indianapolis for crying out loud to go to Big 10 Media Days. I wish we did go to Chicago one year.
Yeah, Indianapolis is a great town for a convention.
Yeah,
because like everything's connected, but it's not a city that like. And I love Indiana. Like I loved when we were at the Super Bowl there. I love it. It's a great city, but it is not the like, hey, what are we gonna do? Like, there's not like those kind of things about Indianapolis. It has everything you need. Not everything you would want, right? But like it has everything you need. So you can't complain about Indianapolis. It's just not. It's not Vegas. It's not Chicago. It's not
Right. Yeah, I mean, but at least, when I go back now, because I did go for the very first time last year's, but at least I know exactly where I'm eating every time I go down there. When we go pop down to St. Elmo's, we know exactly where we're going for steak and a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah. I don't know if they still have it downtown because it's been a while, but they had like the Weber Grill had like an actual restaurant down there that was kind of like around the corner from St. Elmo's, which they had a great idea of, hey, let's open this restaurant. Let's make it close to St. Elmo's so that when there's big things in town, like all these conventions and people have booked the reservations out forever, like the Super Bowl, we got into St. Elmo's like at 4:00 in the afternoon on Sunday. It wasn't it wasn't, prime time. My mom was actually just up there for a convention. I told her about it. I said, you may want to make a reservation now. And she was there for like a week. And so she got there on Monday, and then they said, well, just go over there now. You can just walk right in on Monday afternoon. So she and another lady from the convention just went over to St. Elmo's and had shrimp cocktail and a filet mignon. So
the shrimp cocktail is as advertised, as you know, by the way. I mean,
you gotta be ready for it though. Like you can't just like, it's a little bit of cocktail sauce, not the big glob. It's just a little bit. It's a little bit. Your sinuses will be clear.
Yes. I did a little glob the first time around. I tried to do it the second time around with a bigger glob. Paid the price for that one. Big time.
Yeah. No, that's where you're like, oh man. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, blow my nose, wash my hands, and we'll start over here. So Pierre, I want to spend the majority of this show, even after the break, talking about the SEC and the Big Ten and what they're trying to do to the college football playoff. And this is not something that's new information. They had said this a year ago when they were looking at the next TV contract, which starts in 2026. The other two Power Four conferences, everybody's allowed to have them kind of captain the ship when it comes to what the next iteration of the playoff is going to be. And so they have taken that as an indication that they should rig the game in their favor. And I kind of wondered if it would be like a couple years before this came up or whatever, but they want the 4 automatic qualifiers per league. And I will tell you right now that if that goes through, you're going to alienate more than half the country. You're going to alienate a lot of people, and it is total bullshit because the SEC showed this year they did not have 4 deserving teams that made it. So what happens not even a month after that game's over? What do? They say, well, this automatic qualifier thing that we had, we really want to go through it because we feel we were wronged. So just like everything else in America now, if something doesn't go your way and you don't win, the game is rigged against you and we have to fix it. No, maybe you just weren't good enough. Maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have had a bunch of teams lose 3 games. Maybe parity is starting to happen. Maybe that's going to continue to happen and you know it. So the only way that you can get your way is to rig the game. And the Big Ten got 4 last year because they earned it. They had 4 of the better teams that earned it. But they also know that there by the grace of God go I when it comes to the SEC, and it could very much happen again. So instead of just saying like, hey, and here's the thing, most years one will get 4 and one will get 3. So they can corner all the money, and they can get the majority of the money, and then get the majority of the teams, and they can make it just about the two of them. They're trying to rig the game, and it is not. If there are 4 automatic qualifiers, it is not a playoff. It is an invitational, and that is bogus, and it's ridiculous, and no one outside those 2 conferences should allow it to stand. That should be the absolute hill that they die on, is that we are not doing automatic qualifiers to that level. There is no way, because just like there were 4 Big Ten teams, there were 2 other Big 12 teams that could have made an argument based on the SEC stand. Like BYU can make the same argument that Ole Miss can based on the same standards that Ole Miss was using, right? And they didn't get any consideration at all. Iowa State, based on the Ole Miss standard of this, like losses in conference to good teams don't count, then they could have made the same argument that the conference championship game against Arizona State didn't matter because by just making it, they were there. So again, like you have, like, as much as we hate the committee, like taking them completely out of this and basically telling them to rank it because you're going to have 4 SEC teams, 4 Big 12 teams, 4 Big 10 teams, 2 ACC, 2 Big 10, 1 group of 5, and the rest at large. I mean, that's nonsense. And they've also had a carve out for Notre Dame so that they can get Notre Dame on their side. But Notre Dame's going to be on either, like, they'll be fine either way. It is ridiculous, and I cannot tell you how much it disgusts me that we are at the I didn't get my way, so I need to rig the game point at this.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to find the words that really kind of, go that would go against you at this point, because I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And it's really frustrating too, because when you look back at last year, I mean, it's the first year last year where we had 12 teams. And I don't recall right now, as I continue to age, my memory is getting worse and worse. But at the end of last season, when the initial 12 came out, I don't recall hearing a lot of disappointed voices. I don't recall hearing a lot of, that's not fair, this team should be in, this team should be out. There, I know that there were some that were thinking like, Boise, okay, fine, et cetera. So I heard a little bit of that, but just after you had a season in which I think it was about as fair as it got between 1 through 12, and now we want to disrupt that system, and now we continue to show how money is more important than the actual sport and the fan base of every team, and the college football in general really had no issue 1 through 12. And now we want to go in there and show how possibly we can disrupt that from a greed standpoint. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me. I know it doesn't sit right with you. And it's exhausting. It truly is exhausting to watch these people in power continuously try to find a way to disrupt what we have already. And as you say, rig it in their favor when we already have 2 conferences that we damn well know has all the riches in the world. And to try to continue world domination the way that they're doing, it's just exhausting to watch it. And we know that it's unfair to some of these other programs that are deserving to be up there as well.
Yeah, I don't, I don't appreciate unfairness in any regard. And the thing is, the minute you become okay with any type of unfairness, then you're kind of okay with all types of unfairness.
Right.
And then until it circles around and be like, no, I'm the one who's supposed to benefit. We're supposed to screw them. You're like, everything's circular, right? It all comes back down. Like you start taking away things and then it comes back on you. This is really pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And what the SEC and Big Ten are doing is is being so greedy that eventually they ruin the product. And you're just another thing. And they are missing out on what makes college football so entertaining, and at times more entertaining than even the NFL, which gets the big ratings. They have all this. They have this potential to grow, and growth for college football means that the Big 12 grows, and the ACC grows, and the American grows, and the Mountain West grows, and the rising tide lifts all boats. But as soon as the other boats start to lift in the tide, if you try and sink them, that's not good, I don't like, I understand corporate greed, and that's what this is. It is absolute straight up and down corporate greed from these two. But when you intersect it with the world that is sports, where things that are decided on the field and you earn it on the field, making it an invitational for 8 teams from 2 leagues absolutely flies in the face of fair competition, sports, like everything that sports is about. Yep. This is wrong in every single way. It is wrong. And as fans, like, I'm not like, this is a call your senators kind of moment for fans. If this goes down, like, fans of the ones that get screwed need to stand up and say, no, we do not want this. We do not want this. This is not what we signed up for. But they also know, and Bill Hancock told this to Smokey and Craig at Big 12 Media Days 2 years ago. And they were so flabbergasted they didn't ask him a follow-up. In fact, the interview ended like a couple minutes after that. Because they really, he said the quiet part out loud, and when he did that, it locked up 2 guys who never get locked up. And I would like to think that because, of course, I really don't like Bill Hancock at all, so there's a chance I would have been involved in that interview anyway, because they would have been like, well, there's a chance that 5 minutes in, Paul just goes off and is like, no, I'm not. No, you can't just sit here and say this, because it was, it'd be like me interviewing J.D. Vance. Like right now, I'd be like, stop it. Stop. I can't. Or, any politician right now. I'd be like, just stop. You guys are killing us all. Both of you. So but like, that's what it would have been like. But even still, I might have been shell-shocked by it myself. He said, when Craig asked him, well, if it's just 2 leagues and you're putting that on, don't you think that will alienate the viewers? And he's like, no, basically, the gist of it was they'll watch what we put on. Like, they'll watch what we put on. We're not worried about that. Yeah. And I don't think that's necessarily true for college football. I don't think it's true for college. And this also intersects with, and we'll talk about this more after the break, but they're trying to expand the college football playoff. They're also trying to piggyback this with talking about expanding the college basketball tournament as well, thing they don't need to do. No. And here we sat here and yelled for years, we need a playoff, we need a playoff, we need a playoff. They did well the first year out of the box, and now they're already trying to mess it up.
Correct.
It's, I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
It's infuriating. No, it's absolutely infuriating. And what I'm about to say, I know is not necessarily an apples to apples comparison, but listening to you talk, I can't think of, the NFL is king. We all know the NFL is king, and it rules the roost every Sunday in the fall. But there is something very unique. And as somebody who didn't grow in a college sports town or around college sports environment, I never fully understood it until I moved to Waco, and I lived in Texas for 4 years. I got to see it firsthand. There is something ultra unique about college football fandom in general. It's not just, how do I describe it? It's not just fandom. It is a way of life. It almost feels like a part of your family. It's something sweet and innocent and different about the way people are fans of pro sports and pro teams. Friends of mine who have been lifelong fans of Major League Baseball, one guy in particular who's a huge Cubs fan and is a baseball savant, he has told me over the past couple of years, he has stopped watching baseball entirely because the money that's been thrown around in the offseason and the divide between the haves and the have-nots is now looking like English Premier League soccer. You have 2, 3, 4, 5 teams at most who've got it all, and then you have everybody else. And then we've got a dog and pony show of, here's a third wild card team, or here's, let's make it look like teams are actually still in the race when we know these teams that are making at least the last 2 wild card spots pretty much don't have a shot at all. So when I'm listening to this and thinking about college football, I'm thinking about it in the same way. You are separating the haves and the have-nots, and this notion that you won't turn off a fan base of any particular school, and especially a blue blood, it absolutely can happen. It can happen. you can alienate the fans. You can piss them off to the point of like, you know what? This is pointless for me to watch because if we're getting 8 spots for only the Big Ten and the SEC, then why am I investing my time knowing that my team, even if they finish 10-2, won't even get in the door in a 12-team playoff?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Could be worse. Paul, could be worse. You could try and interview the word salad imbecile. That would be Jerry Jones. Yeah.
Oh,
no, look,
wow.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you, when you get to sit down with Jerry, even though he throws you some word salad, he's way more pleasant.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's way more pleasant. But yeah.
Can I say one thing about Jerry Jones? I will say the one thing that has always impressed me about him, no matter how his team is performing, he is out there in front of the media after every game on Sunday. And whether you like what he has to say or not, he is out there. And I absolutely appreciate that about him. I really do.
I do and I don't.
Well, I know you don't love what he has to say. I know that.
I mean, like it's I mean, you know. But yeah, but like to all this, like trying to rig the game, just I'm going to make this comparison because I see so many overlaps to like how American society works right now. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of overlaps. Like corporations are running our country. The corporations run our country.
Correct.
We have as close to, if not an oligarchy right now, as you can ever imagine. And this is just the peak of them. Like this is them pulling the curtain down. The oligarchy's been going on for 30 years. It's been going on that long. Maybe since the 80s. Like really, it's like since the 80s, it's been like corporations, like bigger and bigger and bigger. The antithesis of what after the Industrial Revolution with Teddy Roosevelt, when we said we got to bust these trusts, like these things are getting too big, it's hurting America. We're in the opposite direction of that right now. And I know the history's cyclical and things will come back around. But we're talking about we're trillions of dollars, which in 1910 they couldn't have even imagined. Like 2 million was like, you know,
right.
It was ridiculous. So, but they but so we have this thing going on and we are, because it gets awkward, because we don't want to discuss things we disagree about. We I don't know how many conversations I have. Well, I don't pay attention to it. Look, I'm telling you right now, now's the time to start paying attention to all of this. Every time like something happens that somebody gets screwed, a corporation is pretty much benefiting. And so SEC, Big Ten, like even the Big 12 and ACC, they're corporations too. And it's kind of like there was a fight a few years ago about the internet where they wanted a 2-tiered internet where the providers could charge people more, and then it was gonna make your bills go up because if you were a Netflix subscriber, they'd charge you more because you're streaming and all these things. And it got to be this fight about the internet, which is supposed to be from its inception free and open. And then, you know, there's, you know, everybody pays like you do this, like this is what you pay. Like that's the agreement. And they were going to try to structure out the internet. So you had to like take sides with corporations of like, oh, do I fight AT&T or do I fight Netflix on this? Well, Netflix was right, but they're still a big, gigantic corporation. You just had to pick the one that was getting screwed. And on this side, the Big 12 and the ACC are getting screwed. And so like we're all in the midst of like a corporate war for this reason. And it's now spilled over into like that attitude, and the fact that corporations can solve all our problems has now spilled over into college athletics. And I don't like it. And we're kind of powerless to stop it because they're just going to do where the money goes. And that's become the most pure American ideal of like, oh, well, I'm getting the most money I can. But at what expense? At the expense of quality, at the expense of, you know, what the people want, what the sport is. Like, you know, this is, I mean, I don't mean to sound like one of those dudes, but like this bears watching. And if you care about college football, you need to watch this and make sure, like, you know, make sure that you're you, with your checkbook, with your ticket buying, with your viewing, if they turn this into the SEC Big Ten Educational, you're not going to watch it because it's not the playoff. They just had a playoff. The most pure decision of a champion we've ever had. And it was too good for them. It was too righteous. It was too pure. And one of the conferences had to pay for its sins for the first time ever. And now they want to rig the game. That's what corporations do. Oh, you don't like that we dump all our trash into the river? Oh, well, guess what? We're going to buy a politician who's going to write a law that says we can dump trash into that river. So this guy fought against us dumping trash in the river. We don't want to pay for the trucks to take it to where we want. We're going to buy a guy who's going to go dump trash in the river. That's what the SEC is doing right now. We're going to rig a system to where we don't ever have to be sad anymore. Our way is going to be that. And the corporate greed behind this, I cannot tell you how much it pisses me off, because it's just, we're living in the Matrix, man. We're just food for the machines. That's all we are, and that's what the SEC and Big Ten are treating us like.
Yeah, no, it's well said. It's well said. I wish I could add to it. I don't know why. I don't think I need to add anything more. It's absolutely 100% correct. 100%.
Yeah. So when we come back, I want to talk about expanding the college basketball tournament. An equally shitty idea.
God.
An equally bad idea, because, again, they've hit a sweet spot with it.
Yep.
They've hit a great sweet spot with it, and all they can do, and this is all four of them now. This is the Big 12. I asked Brett Yormark about it last year. It was the only time I've ever talked to him where he's been a little bit evasive on it, because I think he knew that we were right about it. Because it was actually during the NCAA tournament when we asked him. So we'll talk about that next. This is 365 Sports and the Triple Option.
Fubo TV has the channels you love for half the cost of cable. Watch your teams live in 4K. Plus, entertainment for the whole family. Record to the cloud and watch anywhere. Try free at FuboTV.com.
You might ask yourself what functional mushrooms are good for. Whether it's lion's mane, cordyceps, turkey tail, shiitake, reishi, they all serve a purpose.
You have ones for neurological health, ones for sleeping and gut health, and all these different areas. They pack a powerful punch.
Functional mushrooms are, of the millions of mushrooms and fungi out there, the ones that we can actually ingest and benefit from as humans.
Like all adaptogens, they kind of adapt to what you need at the time that you need them.
We don't even really know that we're suffering. We just don't quite feel right. That's where these adaptogens come in and really start to close the gap and really start getting us closer to how we want to feel.
Functional mushrooms have definitely re-energized me and helped me face each day with a new vigor for life.
Learn ways that functional mushrooms can help you. Go to GetHumble.com.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, Dark Fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Alongside Pierre Noujaim, Fox 9 Minneapolis, also run by a large corporation. I understand that my rant, like, again, we have to live within and navigate through the society. That doesn't mean we can't ask them for better things.
Totally agree.
We can't, stop them when they have terrible ideas.
No, and I was thinking as you were talking too, in terms of, college football fans or any fan of any sport really for that matter in any league, when you're sitting there at home and you're seeing something like this and you're feeling the way that Paul is feeling, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking to themselves, well, I am but one man, what can I do? And Paul's absolutely right. What you can do is, as painful as it would be, stop sending your money to places or things that you feel are unfairly treating you. That is the only way that change happens. Yes, we can talk about the voting process and the political system all we want, and that's also very important. But you want to know why anything happens it's the same old cliche that I've heard since I was a child, and that still rings true today. Follow the money. Money stops. Money changes. Things will change. You do have that power as an individual.
You do. It's amazing. So we haven't gotten to talk about the Luka Doncic trade, and it's over now. But you cover the NBA on a regular basis, and I'm sure you walked into that Wolves locker room and they were like, "Huh, what now?"
Yep.
Yep. I mean, like that. Like the players are confused by it.
Correct.
Like that never happens. Like every trade I know of, except for maybe Paul Gasol, that's the other one. Like this is like that, where if you walked in and asked a player from a team that never plays Luka, like plays Luka twice a year, home and away, you went to the Hornets and said like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" They'd be like, "Is it fake?"
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Yes. But just to highlight it, Craig, in the aftermath of that, has divorced the Mavericks.
Wow.
A lifelong Mavericks fan has divorced them. Steven Simcox, who hosts the show on Wednesdays with me, he also a lifelong Mavericks fan, is not to that point yet, but he's in the last stages of the marriage counseling before you decide it's over. Like that's where it is. And there's a lot of people like that. So it's possible. And I'll tell you, Craig is not a guy who just says things to say them. When he says he is no longer with the Mavericks, he means it. So it's possible. So if you want to say, like, you know what, forget about the SEC and the Big Ten, like, forget about them, it is possible. You can do it. It takes resolve, but it does. It's going, like, and the thing I look about it, it's going to wreck our whole business. It's going to wreck all of it. And because now you're going to create division, and this has been going on since the SEC decided that they were going to do this, year-round circle jerk of their conference of like, it just means more and doing all that, where it was instead of, Pierre, when we grew up, we didn't root for the conference. We didn't care about the conference.
No.
I wanted my team to win and everyone else to lose.
Correct.
That's how it works. Look, I'm a Red Sox fan. I didn't root for the Yankees in the World Series last year because it would have been good for the AL East.
No.
No,
I've never understood that mentality at all.
I did root for the Eagles in the Super Bowl because I want NFC East teams to win so much that Jerry goes, "Oh, I'm wrong." Like that's the thing. But I want that out of spite. I don't really care how much joy they feel. Sure. I want it for spite. That's not a productive emotion. That's not a way to get things done. And So
very healthy of you, by the way. Very healthy of you.
Look, I'm aware. I'm aware that what I'm doing is not right. Like, it's not good for me mentally to want teams that I abjectly hate, like the Commanders, to do well for spite. Like, that's not healthy.
Sure.
It's not. I know it's not. It's like eating processed food. Like, I know it's not healthy, but you know what? Damn it if I don't love SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
yeah. So I don't know if I love SpaghettiOs anymore, but like, yes, I love a Pop-Tart. You know what? I'm sorry, but when that thing pops up out of the toaster and it's all like warm and the frosting is like just to the, it's wonderful.
How would you rank the Pop-Tarts too in order? I think I definitely have a strong 1, 2, and 3 for sure. Like
1, I think frosted strawberry.
Yep, that's
number one. Number one. Number 2, and you need to try this. It's more of a dessert than a breakfast thing. But the s'mores Pop-Tart, holy cow.
Number 3 for me. That is number 3 for me. Yes, number 3.
Number 3 for me might be number 2 for you. I don't really venture out from those two all that often.
Those two? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me is the cinnamon. The cinnamon.
The cinnamon. I forgot about the cinnamon. Yeah,
cinnamon is quality. Yeah. High quality. You're right though. The strawberry is number 1. It is the king of the Pop-Tart. The strawberry Pop-Tart is number 1.
Yeah.
Close.
They'll roll out blueberry or wild berry, and that's fine. That's fine. Like, I'll have a wild berry Pop-Tart every now and again. Yeah. You know what? Like, it's fine. I'll now that I'm, I'll drink a whiskey that's not, one of my, I don't have a brand of whiskey. I'm a connoisseur, but I'll venture outside my comfort zone with that, just like Pop-Tarts. Like, you know what? Like a month ago, my wife and I saw a wild berry, and we thought, we were, after watching the Pop-Tart Bowl, we're like, that was the one that was the one that went in the toaster. Right. So might as well try that.
Yeah. So it doesn't hurt, but like we all know the old faithfuls that never steer you wrong. I mean, that's really the s'more. I haven't had the s'mores one in a long time. S'mores one, I gotta go back. It's delicious.
The s'mores one, like I almost like need to buy the box and then leave just one pack at my house and then bring the rest here and give them away, because I would just sit there and eat them. Like, as soon as the 2 were done, I would just go back and do it. And as you know, I'm a big kitchen gadget fan. I got that fancy toaster last year.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And so I have that fun. I got to use, for the first time since Christmas, got to use my Ninja Creamy that I got for Christmas.
Okay.
You can make your own ice cream. We did that last night. Wow. Hot diggity damn. It's unbelievable. I made healthy ice cream, protein ice cream that was unreal. Unreal.
I'm going to have to check this out. I don't even know if I've ever heard of this. I got to check this out.
Oh, yeah. Look, I found out, I'm going to put this bit in my act too, that you can make a lot of shit out of cottage cheese. A lot. You blend some cottage cheese, throw some flavoring in it. Yeah. Nice little base.
You know what? Actually, my fiance puts a little cottage cheese in her in the mac and cheese. She uses that with mac and cheese. It's like cottage cheese is very underrated.
Listen, I know people make cottage cheese, but you're just blending it up. It becomes like a liquid. Now this one didn't even have it in there, but I've been I know. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. The Ninja Creamy. By the way, Ninja Creamy, if you would like to send us one that we can use in the studio.
Hey.
I would love that. Or just send me cash I'll make all the creamies and I'll review them. And believe me, this is, when it comes to food, this is a trustworthy face.
And he's not going to lie to you. You and I are of the same ilk in terms of, like, if there was ever a sponsorship opportunity, so we will absolutely not sponsor stuff that we do not consume ourselves. Like you bang the table, for crying out loud. You believe in it, so you believe in it so much. I mean, what better endorsement can a company get than that?
Guess what? They have another product that makes soft serve that I would love to have.
Oh yeah.
You know what, Emery? As a matter of fact, I gave Emery a little project today. I'm going to add on to your project. You get the ninja people on the phone.
Yeah.
I have a Ninja air fryer. I have the Ninja Creamy. They have a portable air fryer called the Ninja Crispy that you can take with you and heat up your lunch.
Yeah.
They're doing God's work at Ninja. They're doing God's work.
I mean,
of a corporate titan that I will let, I will back. Ninja.
Right.
Yeah. You keep letting me make my own ice cream at home. I'm coming for you, Bluebell. No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, listen.
Now you're tugging on Superman's cape there, yeah.
Hey, listen. Ben, Jerry, if you walk out and your tires are slashed, it was me.
Yeah. I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid anymore.
You dirty hippies can't tell me what to do.
God, it's like $14 for a pint of Ben and Jerry's is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the ice cream is good. Don't get me wrong, but like every time I go to buy one, I said, "What am I, a 1%er?" This is insane.
Here's the deal: Ben and Jerry are as liberal as you can get. That's where like the liberalism stops.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's where it stops. Like now, look, they give money to a lot of causes and stuff like that, but also like when you're buying Ben and Jerry's,
yeah.
They're like 85% liberal.
Yeah. At minimum.
Maybe 75.
Yeah,
maybe like 75.
But when it comes to I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, when it comes to the profits that are up their alley, they're like, whoa, hang on a second. Like, well, wait a minute now. Let's not get too crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you can have all the ideals you want, but when you like, so we can charge $14 for a gallon of ice cream and people are going to pay it.
Right.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Listen, I just keep up with the demand. I don't really make the rules here. I just try to keep up, and that's Ben and Jerry. You can see them probably sitting in a corner, like a dark cornered room, like the mafia. And every once in a while they'll come out and be like, "Well, let's sort this out here for just a quick second, please, because you touch our money. Well, just get ready to get kneecapped."
Yeah, we really they could be there taking LSD or whatever. And look, Ben and Jerry, you do your thing. I love you guys. This is all in humor, but you can take LSD and be like, hey man, maybe we should be $5 a gallon. And then when you come off that trip, you're like, no, not doing that. That was fun. On my little trip, but no, I'm not doing that. So.
I could see that. I could see if that happened, maybe it was actually Ben who had the idea of doing that, and Jerry, kind of in his mind, is panicking but goes along with it, and then all of a sudden, of mice and men's Ben, I could see something like that happening.
Yeah.
Kids, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go read the book. It's a classic.
Yeah. Also a thing we don't do enough anymore. But so Pierre, last thing before we go. They are now, this other expansion thing is coming for the NCAA tournament, where they want to maybe go to 76 teams. When Pete Thamel reported on game day, loudly booed at Alabama. Loudly booed. Last year at Big 12, it was at the Big 12 scouting combine that they had at the Star in Frisco. We were asking, I asked Brett Yormark this. I said, look, there is a lot of talk about expanding the basketball tournament. You were going to leave here, and he was going to go over to SMU, was it SMU or the AAC? They were hosting, whatever it was. I think of the AAC. They're hosting at the AAC. They're going to have, they have games there. Maybe Dickies Arena, wherever it was. But they're going over to that. I said, if you walked in there and got on the mic before the game and asked every fan in there, we would like to expand this, every single one of them would say no. Every single one, because it's perfect as it is. I didn't think I was going to like the play-in games as much as I do. I really do. It's perfect. But if you expand and add more of those playing games for teams that shouldn't be in the playing games to begin with, 68 was my limit. That was my limit. And if it goes to 76, it just cheapens it. And if you're not one of the 68 best teams, you don't deserve to be there. And I thought it was perfect at 64. We didn't have the playing games. I've enjoyed the playing games. And if they even got rid of those, I wouldn't be that sad.
Yep.
64 to 68 is the sweet spot. Instead of trying to make something bigger, look, you can stack all the patties on the bun that you want. Eventually, you start to lose the flavor of the sandwich, right? You can have a 6-patty hamburger, but after that, are you really tasting anything, or are you just shoving red meat in your food hole? It's the same thing with this tournament. Instead of doing that, let's make sure that all the things around the tournament are enhanced to the best part of it. Can you make the regional sites better? Can you guarantee that more people are going to come to the games? Can you get into the biggest thing is, you and I have been to a lot of NCAA tournament games, and I can think about in Jacksonville, Pierre, we had a good full arena in Jacksonville for most of it. But there are games, and this is the NCAA tournament, where you're walking around at noon on Thursday, and you're like, man, I could sit anywhere in this building.
Yeah.
Like you could start at the bottom row and then see how many rows they make you move up before the end of the game. And at certain games and certain sites, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Like maybe 10 rows before you're going to hit one where you can just sit there. And you could have bought seats at the top and that's just it. So how do you make the attendance better? How do you increase the media value? How do you enhance the television broadcast? How do you make money with everything around it? How do you make that more of a destination event? How do you do it? Now part of it, and I know that they like the regional sites and whatever, but I do think they were kind of onto something at the bubble where, you know what, the goal is to get to this one spot and then, that kind of eliminated, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about people staying somewhere for a month. That was kind of hard, but if they just did it, I don't know. It's hard because it's 68 teams. I get it, but enhance that, do that better. The one thing I do agree with Greg Sankey is he's going to take some of this football money he's making. They've already pushed basketball, and that's been very successful for them this year, is they're going to put a lot behind baseball and softball because that's the next television contracts that they have. Sure. So, they're doing more with women's basketball, softball, and how do we enhance this? How do we make this better? As opposed to making everything bigger, take what you have and improve on it because you can always improve. So expanding the college football playoff, I think is – look, if you want to make it 16 and have no buys, great, fine, whatever. Figure that out, but don't give me automatic qualifiers. That's insane. Take the top 16 teams, no matter what conference is, and go. The conference champion, you get 5. The 5 conference champions, and I guess Notre Dame, if those 6 teams, those are your automatic qualifiers. If Notre Dame falls within the top 16, they're going. If the 5 conference champions are going, and then after that, the next 11 are the best 11. Bottom line. That's who it is. That's what makes it better. That's what the basketball tournament is. There's no automatic, everybody gets an AQ for the conference champion, but the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, Big East are not guaranteed spots. That's ridiculous. And if they expand, that's what they're going to do to this tournament too, because they're not expanding so that there might be 2 teams from the A10 that have identical records and split during the season and one won the championship and the other one can't get in. They're not doing it for the A10. They're not doing it for the Mountain West. They're doing it for those 4. So again, stop telling me you're doing it for me. You're not doing it for the fans. You're doing it for you.
I would be hard-pressed to find one single college basketball fan, both hardcore and casual, when March rolls around, who probably go to bed at night thinking to themselves, how can we expand this field? Not a single fan out there, Paul, has ever once thought that in the last 30, 40 years. Do you know why? You already said it. It is the most perfect postseason format in all of sports. All of sports. I poo-pooed it when it went to 68. I'm not in love with the play-in games. However, I'm okay with its place in the format now. I'm okay with it. To expand beyond that is complete lunacy. Paul, you know that you and I love to be in the VIP area. When you open the velvet rope and allow the entire riffraff of the MGM Hotel into the VIP area, does it suddenly feel special anymore?
No.
It does not. It does not. It's not special anymore. There's got to be some level of exclusivity that still makes it special. Things have to be hard to accomplish to make them special. 64 teams. I know it's 68, but to me, in my mind, it's still 64 once you get out of the play-in round. 64 teams is the abject, most perfect idea anyone has ever come up with. And again, the notion that there are people out there who look at this and think to themselves, how can we screw it up in order to make more money, is so mind-boggling to me that I've lost all energy to continue to try to fight this, because I have lost all the words to try to explain to somebody how perfect this situation is. And I have no room in my brain to try to comprehend as to somehow to deal with someone who will sell the notion to me that this needs to be expanded in any type of form.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And I say this as a card-carrying gravy boy. Sometimes supersize is not good. You don't need it.
No.
Just get your look. Thank you, Five Guys, for stuffing the bag full of fries, but I really don't need all of them.
Like you mentioned,
it's just me.
If you stack 10 patties, not only will you lose the flavor, what else happens, Paul? You're going to get sick.
Yeah.
You're going to get sick. You're going to make yourself puke.
Yeah, exactly. All right, coming up today on 365 Sports, Dan Wetzel from Yahoo. We've got Ralph Russo from now The Athletic, formerly a long time at the AP, but Ralph Russo's on the show with us as well. Garrett, who else am I forgetting?
We have Keaton Thomas, Baylor linebacker, and we have Pat Smith from Birmingham.
Yeah. So we're going to ask Pat Smith, an SEC guy, how can you stand idly by and let your compatriots get steamrolled like this? We need you to stand up. Love Pat. It'll be a great show. Pierre, thank you so much. I'll talk to you next week, buddy. If not before. We have challenge to catch up on, you and me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't you worry. Before I go, I will be going to the Challenge Mania live event, which is happening this Saturday in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Going to be meeting some of the cast. So can't wait for that story on Monday.
See if you can get them on the podcast.
I'll do what I can. Let me see I'll see what I can do for sure.
Yeah, see what you can do. All right.
Okay.
All right. Pierre Noujaim. All right, that's going to do it for us. This is the Triple Option.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price.